to the NFL and the Eagles. And I speak as somebody who grew up in Philadelphia. As you know, I was rooting for the Eagles the whole time. But it's country first, ladies and gentlemen, and the disrespect, the trying to show, to undermine the president in an event like this. And by the way, we have, I want you to listen to this. Other athletes have jumped in too. And we have a coach, this guy, Steve Kerr, feels that he has to open his big fat mouth too. First, here is Steve Kerr, who is the coach of the Warriors. Cut 13, go.
It's not surprising. I think, the president has made it pretty clear he's going to try to divide us, all of us in this country, for political gain. So it's just the way it is. I think, we all look forward to the day when we can go back to just having a celebration of athletic.
Shut up, you idiot. Just bounce the ball and shoot it in the hoops. Got to listen to this guy. Sounds like a fool on CNN or MSNBC. That's why this is turning the American people off. What next? The NBA? Is that the next one to go? Well, if LeBron James has his way, it is the next one to go. He should focus on trying to win a game. The greatest basketball player ever. No, he isn't. Jordan's the greatest basketball player ever, in my humble opinion. And don't call me. Don't call me, Ohio. I don't care. The other thing Jordan had was class. He knew to stay the hell out of politics. LeBron James looks for opportunities to get involved in politics. Because he's a social warrior, top of everything else, don't you know? Greatest social warrior we've ever had. Cut 14, go.
Do you have any comment on Trump uninviting the Eagles to the White House after most of the black players decided not to go?
Now, see that? Race. It's race. So it's Trump being a racist. Because most of the black players decided not to go. Go ahead.
Well, I actually just found out about it when I was walking up to the podium. I didn't really digest it enough, but it's typical of him. I'm not surprised. It's, typical of him. And
what's typical of him? You're talking about the president? What's typical of him? You don't even have the facts. You just said you walked up to the podium. According to this Politico, the Eagles decided at the last minute most of them wouldn't go. They'd send the guy dressed up. They'd set up the mascot and the owner. There, he's the mascot too, dressed up as an owner. And a couple of players. LeBron James. So it's typical of what? Trump? Trump didn't do anything. Genius. Go ahead.
I know no matter who wins this series, no one wants to invite anyway, so it won't be Golden State or Cleveland going.
Oh, wow. There's your social warrior. Another social warrior, Steph Curry. Cut 15, go.
I agree with Bron. Pretty sure.
Now, these two were talking smack to each other the other night. But they're united here, see, on the hate for Trump. I agree with Bron. Start it from the top.
I agree with Bron. Pretty sure the way we handled things last year, kind of stayed consistent with that. But at the end of the day, like I said, every team has an opportunity to make a decision for themselves and speak for themselves, and I think that's powerful. Being in this situation.
What's powerful? What's powerful? Being in what situation? So progressivism now is working its way into the NBA. It has enveloped the NFL. Now it's working its way into the NBA. Dressed up as race. As race. Now here's Stephen A. Smith on First Take today. His comments on this. Hap, tip, Breitbart, cut 16, go.
Donald Trump has the NFL in the palm of his hands. He can do whatever he wants to them right now because of the positions they've taken or the positions they refuse to take preceding the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. The fact that he has a constituency, we want to sit up there and we want to, the man got over 62 million votes. You got a lot of folks out there who are patrons of the NFL product. The NFL, matter of fact, some of the NFL owners are his friends. And make no mistake about it, the constituency they cater to, the patrons that they cater to, a lot of them were Trump voters. He knows it. He took the position that he took. Yep. You could call it a diversionary tactic or whatever the case may be, but what it comes down to is that the power of influence matters. He has it, particularly over them, because he knows what they tried to do. He knows what he wants to do. More importantly, he knows how to do it better than them, and he's got them by the you know what, because they folded to him.
That is pretty on the point. But I notice, putting aside Stephen A. and a very small handful of other sports broadcasters, they don't want to address this issue of race that keeps coming up, being brought up by the players, being brought up by media types, white and black and in between, on behalf of the players. Is this about race? It's about race? And why would it be about race, as far as Trump is concerned? What has Trump done that's racist? Drive unemployment down among the American people to like a half-century low? Drive unemployment down among African Americans lower than anybody's ever seen? Lower than any president, not just in my lifetime, ever, including Barack Obama? What exactly is it that makes Trump a racist? The fact that left-wing kook professors and left-wing kook Democrats go on TV and accuse him of it? What's the evidence? What's the evidence? And that's part of the problem here. Not only the disrespect for the national anthem, and that disrespect cuts across all racial categories. Last time I checked, there are black men and women, Hispanic men and women, Asian men and women, white men and women in the United States military and in our police forces. The days of a segregated military and police force are over. And they've been over for a long, long time. In fact, the military integrated long before any other institution in this country until a Democrat, Woodrow Wilson, was elected president, a progressive. And he resegregated the military, not to mention the civil service. A Democrat. Donald Trump hasn't even thought about something like that. So what is it? I'll tell you what it is in part. I'll cut through the crap for you. A lot of these guys, a lot of these athletes, think they're Hollywood. They've gone Hollywood. No, they're not actors or so forth, although some of them could be or might be one day. But they're just as popular, if not more so, than actors. So they've gone Hollywood. And all their talk about the neighborhood, and all their talk about the streets, the fact of the matter is, you won't find most of them in the neighborhood, and you won't find most of them in the streets. You won't find most of them living in Camden, New Jersey, or Newark, New Jersey, or East Palo Alto, or you name your city. No, you won't. You won't find most of them going home where they were raised. That's fine. You're going to find them somewhere else. Having excelled and succeeded in their professions. They've done what anybody else would do, regardless of race. They moved up from a poor, poor neighborhood to a rich neighborhood. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of these guys, they're around the media all the time, have gone Hollywood. And they can talk all they want about social justice and spend their summers on social justice. But that's not how they spend their lives. That's not how they spend their careers. They are represented by a union that has as its purpose to protect them and to get them as much money as possible. Some of these players, as an aggregate, own more than 50% of their sport. Own more than 50% of their sport. As a group. So they've gone Hollywood. They sound like these actors and actresses. And they hang around these actors and actresses. And they hang around the quote-unquote beautiful people. And they hang around quote-unquote the elites. They're not hanging around blue-collar workers. Very few of them. It's not about race, ladies and gentlemen, even though, of course, the progressives always want to make it about race or some group issue. It's about elitism. Elitism. LeBron James is an elite player. Steph Curry is an elite player. Steve Kerr is an elite coach. It's about elitism. Not about race. And these elitists, whether they're in Hollywood, whether they're in Washington, whether they're in Greenwich Village, or whether they're on a basketball court or a football field, say the same thing, don't they? They live in one world, and they talk about America as if it's a different world. I'm tired of cutting these guys slack. Like they're out there saving America or doing something heroic. No, they're not. They're progressives. They talk like progressives. They think like progressives. They may not know it, some of them. Some of them do. They've gone Hollywood. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.